Hi YouTube, Big Apple here. Today I'm going to be reviewing Springfield Armory Champion, the little commander size 1911 here. This is a friend's that he lent to me because he was having issues getting it to run, and I'm pretty sure we concluded that it's magazine related after getting these very nice Wilson Combat magazines. They're legendary magazine. It seemed to fix the problem just fine, but I also had success running it with my mags, so I'll elaborate on those points as I go down the list. So everything is pretty standard American 1911 quality. Everything you'd expect. Some of the features that are on this thing, I guess that maybe not unique to it, but some of the things you like whenever you buy 1911. Has no back sights. There are a lot of options for replacements. You get a full grip. It's not that weird Colt hybrid that has the shorter frame, where you actually grip it. So you do get a full grip. They just took some length off the slide and barrel. It also has a full beaver tail grip safety, which is, some people like. Metal mainspring housing, so it doesn't come with a plastic one. It does have pretty sure it's steel, but it is metal, so it's not plastic. Some models have the ambi safety, this one doesn't, but this is also a pretty old one, so a lot of the newer ones may have that. And it has a skeletonized hammer and trigger. So as you can see, it's all pretty standard, high quality, modern American 1911. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. Everything seems to fit pretty well. It's a really, really nice piece. And now I'll elaborate on the things that I like about it. I do like commander size 1911s. I don't have one yet, but I do think they're pretty handy. Taking some of that length and some of that weight off right here is kind of nice. It feels a little bit more balanced. I mean, the recoil is a bit more pronounced since there's not as much weight on the muzzle. But besides that, I mean, it still feels really good. It balances well. It points well. I like commander size 1911s. So, and then some stuff about Springfield. It has a very nice fit. It's not too tight, but it's not sloppy. So when you shake it, you can hear a little bit of wiggle in there, but it's also not so tight that it's going to seize up if a tiny grain of sand gets in there. Everything is very nice. The safety has a nice positive click. No sloppiness at all. The hammer is also very, very positive. Everything just feels nice. It's very, very well put together. Everything is fitted nicely. So not a whole lot of play, but enough play to where it should keep its reliability. It's not ammo picky. It digested everything I put through it and tested it with 3 different magazines. So what I was talking about earlier is that he had run some other mags through. He doesn't know. He's a novice, so he didn't know exactly what brand of mags they were. But I don't know if he had trouble with the Springfield factory mags, but I think these are, I guess they're mid-range 1911 mags. I think they're kind of subpar. I think Chip McCormick, Checkmate, and Wilson all make a better magazine than Springfield. I haven't tested some of the other ones like the Les Bayer mags or the Cobra magazines or some of those other brands, but my favorite 3, I really like Wilson magazines. I really like Checkmate magazines. Those are my 10-round ones that you've seen in my 1911 video, and I like Chip McCormick magazines. But it wasn't picky about that, and it wasn't picky about ammo. It fed everything at every magazine, and I ran it with my 10-round magazines, and it liked those too. So it also has a good trigger, as is any 1911, but the thing I like about this one, no firing pin block. Just like my Series 70 based Smith & Wesson 1911, it has no firing pin block. So when you push the grip safety, it doesn't have a lot of stuff that it has to do. It's just getting rid of that safety. It's not pushing the actual firing pin block out of the way. So you get a nice positive feedback from the trigger. Very, very tight trigger, not sloppy, nothing. Very, very small take up, as you can see, and a very clean break. I do think it has a great trigger. It has a very thick barrel, so it should be able to handle any pressure ammo. But the only thing I don't like about this is that there's a bushingless barrel, and I'm going to get to that when I get to the cons. As you can see, that is one thick barrel. It's a big, big old barrel, especially considering it's a 45 diameter. So that giant barrel, and you have no bushing there. So what I mean by bushingless barrel, 1911s typically have a bushing around here that holds this in place, and to disassemble it, you push this in and rotate it and whatnot. But basically it means that there's no little gap here and that this barrel has something else surrounding it. It's not just the barrel sitting right in there. I don't have one side by side to compare, but if you look at my Smith & Wesson 1911 video, you'll see what a bushing looks like on a barrel. So one of the cons, I'm not a huge fan of a polished stainless steel slide. It looks really good, but it has to be clean. And what I mean by that is, if you look at this one, it has a good bit of wear on it, and wear shows up a lot more on polished steel like this than it does, you know, on something with a blued slide, or you know, a melanite slide, or even just a brushed aluminum look, not polished like my Smith. Doesn't show all these defects as easily. So while this does look really good, it has the potential of getting scratched easily, and especially if you use the gun a lot, if it has a lot of wear, it has a chance of showing those scratches a lot more easily with this finish. So I think it looks really good. It's just that it's hard to keep it in good shape and to keep it tip top and really clean if you plan on running this thing a lot, because a polished aluminum just shows up too much like that. All right, so it has a steel frame. This is a good thing unless you plan to carry it. I think the Kimber aluminum frames or the Smith & Wesson scandium frames are lighter and a better option if you plan to carry. So the appeal of a commander size is that you get a full-size grip, but you take some of the weight off of it, so it helps you not lug around a huge piece of 1911 all the time. It doesn't weigh nearly as much as my Smith does. It's not over 40 ounces, but the frame is still steel. So if you plan on carrying this thing, while the recoil impulse is less, and when I talk about heavier isn't worse in my other video, heavier is not bad unless you plan on carrying it. So you can get one in these exact same dimensions, but with a lighter frame, with an aluminum alloy frame, or I think a lot of them make aluminum, not just Kimber. But Smith & Wesson also has their scandium alloy frame, and that also is lighter than this steel frame Springfield. All that aside, though, I do like the size of the Commander 1911, and I like that it has a steel frame for average recreational use. It'd be good for home defense. It's not bad. It'd be decent for outside the waistband carry. It's just for concealed carry, there are some better options, but still, this has a place. The reason I mention it is in case people plan to carry this. The thing I don't like the most is the bushingless barrel, because it is a pain to disassemble. All right, Kimber does this too, and I forget what other companies have bushingless barrels. I know the EMP also has a bushingless barrel, but the reason I don't like it is that you can't push in the bushing and rotate it and disassemble it by hand. You have to have a tool. While you can take the slide off of here, that spring still has tension on it. So when you take the slide off, you still can't fully get the guide rod out of there unless you have a tool. So to disassemble this one, you pull the slide back and you have to insert a pin in that tiny little hole. You can sort of see it right there. So in that tiny little hole, you have to put, basically I used a little Allen wrench deal, an Allen key, one of those L-shaped ones. So you put it in there and you let it capture this spring, and then when you take the slide off like this, it doesn't have pressure on it anymore, and you can pull that whole thing out as a unit. But you're depending on having that small tool to be able to disassemble this thing all the way. You can still take the slide off of it, but you can't fully remove the barrel and the guide rod without having a tool. And that's one thing I don't like. I did mention earlier that I do like the fact that it has a really thick barrel. So it can handle a lot of stuff, although 45 isn't that high pressure. It's nice to see that thick old barrel in there. Probably absorbs heat really well too, and prevents you from losing too much accuracy. But I'm just not a fan of the bushingless barrel for disassembly and ease of use. But besides that, it's still really good. So overall, I do think this is a great 1911 option in commander size. If you want to stay American, keep it good. I really like Springfield's, Kimber's, and Smith & Wesson's, and Ruger actually has a very great entry-level 1911. But those are some of my favorites, and I do really like this. I have a friend with a Springfield operator that also thinks really good, but then again, that's different from this one. So Springfield build quality, great. The Champion, great option. Just know what you're getting into and know the features and the specifics when you buy it. This is Big Apple signing out. Thanks for watching.